Hey everybody, Zach here, the comic book store writer, and today I am here for my 5 essentials to beginning comic book collecting. This is for my new collectors who are looking to build their collection or start a new collection, who are looking to spend about $30 to $50 per book. I narrowed everything down to 5 main criteria. Number 1 being an iconic cover to have in your collection. Number 2, a first appearance to have in your collection. Number 3, a book that has some kind of social or comic book relevance. Number 4, an undervalued book that has room to grow. And number 5, just some more recommendations for if you like a specific character. So the first option I wanted to start with is your iconic cover, just because it's the most book that you can see coming. Everybody recommends this book. And I picked Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane. I was trying not to be on the nose, and I honestly could have picked any Todd McFarlane cover, but this is the best one for the price range, the best, and just a book that has been homaged so many times that I felt like you have to have one in your collection. There's 4 different covers of this. Only 3 are in the budget. But you have a regular cover with a tan background and the normal webbing, the silver variant that I have here, and the gold variant, which has the gold webbing. The prices are $15 to $20 for the regular cover. This one will range from like 15 to 30, and the gold is usually at 50. Those are all raw prices. Graded is a little bit more. But yeah, it's just such an iconic Todd McFarlane cover. Like, I feel like everybody should have this, at least to say that they have a Todd McFarlane cover in their collection, because once you start expanding more, you're soon to find those Hulk 340s, Amazing Spider-Man 300, 301, all of those bigger Todd books. All right, now moving into your first appearances. And this is not, obviously, first appearance of the Fantastic Four, first appearance of Spider-Man, first appearance of the Avengers, nothing like that. These are just books that are first appearances that don't break the bank that you can just say, hey, I have a first appearance of some character. I narrowed it down even more to first appearance and first cover appearance in the same book, because I feel like if you have a first appearance that you're trying to show off to your friends or people that are even newer collectors, you want to be able to show them the character that is appearing, if that makes sense. So the first book is Nova #1. Both of these books are Marvel comics from the 70s, just because Marvel was trying out a bunch of new characters and trying to see what stuck. And also, Nova is plastered right in the front of the cover here. It's right on our budget at $30 to $50, and Nova has not shown up in the MCU that much at all, especially like Richard Rider. So I definitely think that also with this book being a first appearance and a first cover appearance, there's a lot of room to grow. So Nova #1, very awesome. I've been sticking with that 70s Marvel. Savage She-Hulk #1. The bubble in this book might have popped with the show, but it's still a great book to have in your collection. She-Hulk is such an iconic character. A lot of things are covered in this book. Obviously, you've got the first appearance of She-Hulk. This is a Hulk #1 homage, so that there's also another layer to it. Also, She-Hulk is a great character to collect. There's not a bunch of comics, so if you're trying to collect full runs, she's easy. And also, the John Byrne run is iconic in its own right, especially the #1 with the pink cover. Super witty, breaking the fourth wall. If you like the Deadpool movies, She-Hulk might actually be a perfect character for you. But yeah, this book ranges from like $40 to $50 right now, so it has gone down a little bit in value, but it is such a great book, and I think this is also can go into that undervalued category. All right, now my category 3 are books that have some kind of relevance. I was going to go with Death of Superman. I felt like that was too on the nose. Everybody knows about that book, and also the death of Jason Todd. That everyone knows about that book too, and the story that goes behind it. So I wanted to be a little different. So I decided for my comic book relevant book, I wanted to go with Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21. This is the marriage of Peter and MJ, something that Marvel does not want to have around in modern comics. But yeah, any wedding issue is always fun, especially with 2 iconic characters like Peter and MJ. There's 2 versions of this book as well, which is fun for collectors. There's this variant here that's got Peter dressed up as Spider-Man, and it's got the heroes and the villains. And there's also a Peter Parker variant that has him dressed as Peter Parker in a suit, and all Peter Parker's friends. You know, you got Robbie and J. Jonah Jameson and MJ. So this is a great book. You're at $20 to $30 for a copy of this cover. I did not pull up the other version of the book just because I didn't have it to show off. That book is a little bit rare just because kids, when they're buying these off the stands, prefer to have Spider-Man on it instead of Peter Parker. But they're both great in their own right. I just wanted to show that one off for you guys. All right, now books with social relevance because comics have been commenting on social issues since World War II, back when Jack Kirby was making those Captain America comics. But I wanted to stick a little bit more modern just so we can stay in the price realm, and I decided to go with Amazing Spider-Man 36. This book was written in response or right after 9/11 happened in the United States. It's got this ominous, just black cover to show that, hey, something's not right. And it just kind of goes into how the superheroes and the villains in New York City would react to an act of terrorism. It's a really, really social, a really, really important book to comic books, especially American comic books, and one I recommend that you have in your collection. There's two versions of this book. There's obviously a direct one that's just all black, and there is a newsstand that has a barcode here. The newsstand fetches a little bit more money just because it's a black cover. Black covers are notoriously hard to get in a high grade, so a newsstand and high grade will go for a lot more money than just the black cover. But raw, this book usually goes between $30 to $50, and it is a great book for any new collector. All right, now I'm moving into my books that I feel like are undervalued. This is obviously super subjective. I tried to narrow this category down to mostly Silver Age books that have not spiked at all, and there's a lot of room to grow for them. So my first one is Strange Adventures 207. This is the third appearance of Deadman. So usually for the books that haven't popped yet, I always try to get to my second and third appearances that people aren't necessarily collecting yet because they're trying to chase down that first appearance. But this Neil Adams cover actually won the Alley Award for best cover in 1967. The book goes for around $40, and I can really justify it going for a lot more, especially with Neil Adams not being with us anymore. Great, great iconic character. Deadman has not really made any movie or TV appearances yet as well, so there's always room for that to go up if the DCU decides to pick him up and do more stuff with Deadman. But this is a great book for $40 to have something that is in that older DC style, drawn by one of the greats, and a really cool character and great cover. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, all the values that I found are for March of 2026, so I can't comment on what they'll be in the future. Next book, which might have grown a little bit because of the show, but has calmed down a lot, and this is Doom Patrol 86, which actually picks up from My Greatest Adventure 85. This is Doom Patrol's first solo titled book. Such a great cover. Just if you can find this bright red, and a higher grade, it is so nice. And the book is honestly only $50 to $60, which is really crazy for a big team book that is basically DC's version of the X-Men. Underloved book, underloved team, and such a great book. This is also the first appearance of their Brotherhood of Evil. Great, great book. I definitely recommend it and think it's undervalued. And finally, this is undervalued and a first appearance, so I think it's really cool. And I think it's because of the size of the book. But this is Marvel Graphic Novel 4. I believe it's 4. Yeah, Marvel Graphic Novel 4, the first appearance of the New Mutants, or the first solo book for the New Mutants. Also, if you can see, mine is signed by Bob McLeod. But this is in that Marvel graphic novel format, and the main popular Marvel graphic novel is obviously God Loves Man Kills X-Men. So this one gets overshadowed a lot. I think Marvel would do something with the New Mutants, especially with the X-Men coming into the MCU. It's a great book. It's a great team. You can definitely find Bob McLeod at different cons and get him to sign your book as well, which is always fun to do. I love a New Mutants team. I think Marvel doesn't explore them enough. And this is a great first appearance and undervalued book. This one's usually at $30 to $40, and it's just such a great book. I think it's just the size that kind of turns people off. Also, be wary of this book if you are trying to pick it up. There are multiple printings. The prices are for a first print. A second print should be less if that is what you are looking for. But yeah, well, Marvel graphic novel number 4, first appearance of the New Mutants. All right, and the final category is kind of books that I curated per team or characters that I think people will like to collect. So I have, how many books here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different books that I would like to talk about for new collectors. This is my hidden gem. This is Uncanny X-Men 139. And this is actually when Kitty Pryde joins the X-Men team. Obviously, her first appearance goes for a lot more money, and people just often overlook this book. It is filled with great appearances and just cultural things for Chris Claremont's run. You've got the debut of the Brown and Tan Wolverine costume in this issue. Also, just Kitty Pryde joining the team. So this is a very, very good Kitty Pryde key that literally goes for $15 to $20. Super undervalued, super hidden gem. I definitely recommend this if you were an X-Men collector, especially with how crazy the X-Men market usually is. Moving into Avengers, I picked the first appearance of Red Guardian. I don't think that this book is worth nearly as much as it should be. It is $40 to $50 in a mid to low grade. And Red Guardian was in that Thunderbolts movie that did absolutely amazing. I think it caught a lot of people off guard. He should still be in the MCU. And it's just, when can you say that you got Silver Age Marvel, especially Avengers, which is a very popular title for that cheap of a price? So yeah, first appearance of Red Guardian. This is issue 43 of the Avengers. Definitely a sleeper and a great book to start your collection around if you are an Avengers collector. All right, I picked Superman because Superman is hot right now. If you're a Superman fan, you're honestly in luck because unless you're going after your major keys from the Golden Age, any Silver Age Superman, especially like this is just a random issue with a cool pink cover and a dragon on it, they all range from like $20 to $30. So if you were a Superman collector, go crazy. Go to your local comic book store and say, hey, do you have any Silver Age Superman? I'm sure you're not going to break more than $20 to $30 on these books. And they're so great. They're great reads. They're still 10 centers. They're Silver Age, though. And just great colors. You can get them in pretty decent shape for not a lot of money. So Superman, anything Silver Age that you can find for $20 to $30, I think is a great bang for your buck. Moving into Batman. Batman is kind of in the same position as Spider-Man, where there's a lot of Batman collectors and there's a lot of Batman books out there. Usually what I recommend for Batman and Spider-Man collectors are to start collecting the Rogues, especially Silver Age appearances of the Rogues, because your Golden Age ones are going to be a lot more expensive, and the Silver Age appearances are not only going to be a little bit easier on the wallet, but they're also kind of the versions that we know of the characters. This is not Silver Age. This is a little bit more modern, 1985. But this is the first appearance of Black Mask. This is Batman 386. Sorry, I had to take a second look at that. But it's a Batman rogue that doesn't break the bank, especially for beginning collectors. I will say Batman is a little bit more expensive to get into. Just track down stuff like this. Obviously, your ones, your Death in the Family, those books will all be in that like $30 to $50 range. This guy hovers at the $50 range right now. I've seen them listed a little bit more expensive on eBay, but you just got to be vigilant. I did see them selling for $50. So just keep your eye out for a higher grade copy, or a higher grade copy for a not too bad price. But first appearance of the Black Mask, I think that's a perfect place to start for your Batman key journey. And if you're going for reading, I recommend obviously Year One, Death in the Family, or your Dark Knight Returns. And then finally, for my Spidey guys, I had a really hard time picking a Spider-Man book that is a key in any sort to be in this price range. Spider-Man books are so expensive. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Everyone wants to collect Spider-Man. So for this, I went with the first cover appearance of Mary Jane. Obviously, she appears a little bit earlier in number 42. This is issue 59, so a little bit later, but this is the first time we're going to see Mary Jane on the cover. Probably one of the biggest Spider-Man side characters besides Aunt May and all his rogues. All the Spider-Man rogues, you're talking big money. So I would recommend to get kind of like these auxiliary books. That's a hard word to say. But yeah, this book is usually, you can find a low grade at $50. A high grade copy will run you a little bit more. But you just have to look around for it. You can find them, I'm sure, at local comic book stores, on eBay, set your alerts, and you can probably track them down. But yeah, first cover appearance of Mary Jane. I think this is a great place to start for any Spider-Man collector. But yeah, those are my top 5 essentials to my beginning comic book collection journey, or to a beginning comic book collector. I hope they help you out. If you have any questions, you can just ask me in the comments, or if you need more book recommendations, I can definitely put that down for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like and subscribe. See ya.